As we have talked about in this unit, cells are a fundamental unit of life. And these are some of the objectives that I want you to learn in this lesson. So we're going to identify and describe the key organelles, compare and contrast the unique features of plant and animal cells, explain how the organelles within a cell work together to carry out essential life processes, and finally we're going to demonstrate an understanding of the similarities and differences between plant and animal cells. So let's get started. The cell is the basic and fundamental unit of life, and it possesses a highly organized structure that enables it to carry out its vital functions. And as we've kind of already talked about before, there are two types of cells. So you have prokaryotic cells, which lack a defined nucleus, and they have just this one type of those prokaryotic. So it's dispersed genetic material in the cytoplasm. You can tell that it's fairly simple compared to our other types of cells. And then we have eukaryotic cells, which have a defined nucleus. This can consist of plant, animal, protist, and fungal cells. So there's our main two types and the subcategories for those two types of cells. You can see that each one of those subcategories have different characteristics that describe them. So the plant has a cellulose cell wall, chloroplasts, and vacuoles, where an animal cell has a rigid cell wall, may have flagella, and then protists, they have a cell wall without differentiated tissues. And then our fungal has a chitin cell wall, and they are heterotrophs. And some of these several fundamental components would be the cell membrane, nucleus, ribosome, rough endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, mitochondria, chloroplasts, lysosomes, and perioxysomes, centrioles, and microtubules. So those are kind of the 10 most important that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about several different types of organelles that are in our plant and animal cells today. So you have a part in your notes that are structure and basic functions. So these components work together to maintain cellular homeostasis and perform essential life activities. In each one of these, as we go along, I just want you to do a bullet point and say the organelle that fits into this section. So the first one that fits into this section is cell membrane. The cell membrane actually surrounds the cell and is a selective barrier between the interior and the exterior. Its primary role lies in regulating the passage of substances, including nutrients and waste materials. So, in and out of the cell, you can see there the cell membrane. We talked about this in our macromolecules unit, and it has those channel proteins. So, it will allow in nutrients and allow out waste materials. And this helps facilitate molecular transport and cellular communication. Then we have our cell wall. It is the protective part of the plant cell. It gives the plant cell its rectangular shape. It has a rigid outer layer that provides structural support and protection, and it is made primarily of cellulose. As you can see in that top left-hand corner, it has a picture of a plant cell. So that means that a cell wall is only in plant cells. And if you notice, if we go back to our cell membrane, it has a cell for a plant and an animal in the top right-hand corner. So a cell membrane is in both a plant and animal cell, where a cell wall is just in plant cells. So notice that as we go through these organelles, so you can differentiate between our plant cell organelles and our animal cell organelles, because they do not have the same organelles. Some are the same and some are different. So continuing on, we've got our cell nucleus. These are in both plant and animal cells. An organelle that houses DNA. It is located in the center of eukaryotic cells. So that green kind of spot in there, that is the nucleolus. And that is involved in ribosome synthesis. So the whole nucleus, that whole circle there on your left side of your screen, its primary function is to store and safeguard genetic information. That's why we have that DNA that's coming out of it. It controls gene expression and DNA replication. So our cell nucleus is a very, very important part of the cell. This is what has all of our DNA. It tells the cell what to do, tells the cell what kind of cell it is, because skin cells are different than our heart cells or eye cells or even nail cells. So they are all different, and this is what tells them what it is. Cytoplasm, it is in both as well in plant and animal cells. It is that gel-like matrix that contains water, salts, proteins, and other molecules, and it occupies the intracellular space between the cell membrane and the nucleus. So it's almost like this jelly-like substance that is filled in the cell. And that is why all these organelles will stay in place. So it plays a crucial role in biochemical reactions, energy production, and substance transport. So it's essential for cellular metabolism and it provides structural support to the cell. So those are the organisms that are in the structure and function category. Our next category is protein synthesis. So this builds and repairs cellular structures, regulating biological processes and expressing specific characteristics of each organism. So our first organelle in this category will be our ribosome. Ribosomes are essential organelles for cellular functioning and survival. They synthesize proteins using the genetic information from messenger RNA or mRNA, which is crucial for cellular structure, function, and regulation. So ribosomes are located in the cytoplasm and the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Ribosomes are also in both plant and animal cells. So you might be saying, what is this rough endoplasmic reticulum? Well, let's talk about it next. So the endoplasmic reticulum is a network of interconnected membranes that extends from the nuclear membrane to the cell membrane. So that means it surrounds the nucleus and it has all of these channels that will have these highways from the nucleus all the way out to the cell membrane on the outer parts of that cell. It plays a fundamental role in the transport, processing, and distribution of proteins and lipids within the cell. And there are two main types. As you can kind of see in that picture, we've got the rough endoplasmic reticulum, which is that light green color. You can see it has some bumps on it because it is studded with ribosomes and is involved in the process of synthesis and modification of proteins. And then the smooth ER, or smooth endoplasmic reticulum, specializes in lipid synthesis, carbohydrate metabolism, and detoxification. So you have two types. The rough ER has those little ribosomes dotted on it. So it's almost like if you put rhinestones on something, or if you put some kind of material where it has a rough texture, that's your rough endoplasmic reticulum. If you have a smooth one, it's the same thing, it just doesn't have the ribosomes on it. So that's what makes them have different processes in the cell. And again, they are in both plant and animal cells. Same with Golgi apparatus, they are in both types of cells, and the Golgi apparatus is key in the processing and packaging of proteins and lipids that are produced in the ER, or the endoplasmic reticulum. You'll hear a lot of videos or talk that says endoplasmic reticulum, or they will simply just say the ER. They're interchangeable. So it synthesizes carbohydrates and lipoproteins and is essential for maintaining the cell's internal balance and facilitating communication with the outside. It is composed of a series of flattened sacs called cisternae. It acts as the shipping center of the cell, sorting and packaging proteins and puts them into vesicles for transport and distribution. Our next category is energy supply. So, energy supply is to carry out vital functions and necessary metabolic processes that are essential for the proper functioning of the cell and or organism. So, let's look at these organelles that are in this category. You have the mitochondria. This is present in eukaryotic animals and plant cells. Their primary function is energy generation through cellular respiration. So that means it's ATP production. We're going to talk about that a little bit later in this unit. So, the double membrane of your mitochondria allows for the organization of various stages of the respiratory chain, making it crucial for cellular function and survival. You also might have heard that mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. And that is why it is involved in energy generation. That is why they call it the powerhouse. Both plant and animals have a mitochondria. Chloroplasts, this is exclusive to plant cells and photosynthetic organisms. So, chloroplasts carry out photosynthesis. This converts solar energy or energy from the sun into chemical energy or energy that it can use. During photosynthesis, they synthesize glucose and other organic compounds using carbon dioxide and water. And then they release oxygen as a byproduct. That is why they breathe. We say that plants breathe in carbon dioxide. They also need water. That's why you water plants. Then they use that solar energy to convert it into glucose, which they use as chemical energy. And they breathe out oxygen, which allows us to breathe. So they are responsible for the crucial reproduction of oxygen that sustains the planet. And again, you can kind of see it almost looks like little discs that are put together and then they are put into almost like a little coin purse, if you've ever heard of one of those. So that's what chloroplasts look like. Cellular digestion. This involves breaking down molecules and unwanted materials, enabling the recycling of nutrients and cellular maintenance. So, lysosomes are only in plant cells, they are only in animal cells. They contain digestive enzymes that break down molecules and unwanted cellular materials. They facilitate cellular digestion by disposing of waste, recycling nutrients, and defending against pathogenic invasions. Peroxisomes are in both plant and animal cells. They contain enzymes that degrade hydrogen peroxide and toxic compounds, thereby protecting the cell from oxidative damage. Additionally, they play a role in the synthesis and degradation of lipids and bile acids. This helps regulate lipid metabolism and overall homeostasis. So, our next category is support and movement. This helps maintain cellular shape, enabling cellular movement and division, and these organelles are essential for its functioning and survival. So, our first one would be centrioles. So, a single pair of centrioles are only found in animal cells, and they are made up of multiple microtubules. This helps the cell divide during mitosis and meiosis. Then you have a cytoskeleton. It is found in both cells. It is composed of protein filaments, such as microtubules, microfilaments, and intermediate filaments, and provides support and enables movement in eukaryotic cells. Its specific functions encompass stability, intracellular transport, and contraction. It also regulates cellular shape and plays a role in division, migration, and communication. Also, for our cytoskeleton, you can see the microtubules, how they run through the cell. And then you can see the intermediate filaments. You can see that they are combined. They look almost like the pull apart licorice, is my best way to describe it. And then our microfilaments are through there as well. And you can see you have your mitochondria sitting there, you have your different organelles, and these help everything stay in place. So they run through your cytoplasm and keep all of your cells built up. Then you have your flagella and cilia. These are specialized structures for movement. They are elongated and enable locomotion in liquid environments, whereas cilia are shorter and create coordinated flow on the cell surface. So they are usually composed of microtubules in a 9 plus 2 prime pattern. They are essential for sperm motility. Then our next category is storage and transportation. These help manage nutrients, eliminate waste, and regulate metabolic processes. So vacuoles. Vacuoles are membrane-bound organelles found in plant cells and some animal cells. They store nutrients, water, ions, and waste materials. They are regulating turgor pressure and osmotic balance. So, vacuoles can also be involved in the digestion of substances and serve as a defense mechanism against predators by containing toxins. Vacuoles are mostly found in plant cells. That's why I have the picture of the plant cell up there. They are sometimes found in your animal cells, but usually they're a lot smaller, and sometimes they don't even have them. So, for simple purposes, we're going to say vacuoles are just in plant cells. Vesicles and endosomes. So these are membranous vesicles that transport specific materials between organelles and the cell membrane. So vesicles, they transport materials from the ER, or the endoplasmic reticulum, and the Golgi apparatus to other destinations. Then our endosomes, they capture and distribute materials for degradation, recycling, or their incorporation into metabolic pathways. So if you have any questions, please feel free to post them on the comments of this video so I can get back to you and help you through any of these processes. These are a lot of organelles that are all essential to our life on Earth. So it's so important that we get these organelles down because our next unit is going to build upon this. And if we don't understand these, our foundation is going to be shaky and it's all going to fall down. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Please, please, please. And I will be able to help you answer any of your questions. Thank you, and I am glad you are here.